Welcome to the Fall River Conservation Commission meeting tonight, held at Government Center, September 14th, 2020 at 5:30 in the first floor atrium, 1 Government Center, Fall River. Pursuant to the open meeting laws, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit this meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and deemed acknowledged and permissible. Can I have a roll call?
Walter Murillo.
James Hornsby.
Andrew Liss.
John Brandt. And we also have present tonight Bill Kenny from Planning, Patty Aguiar from Planning, and we have Fred TV here. First on the agenda is Notice of Intent, NOI, file number SE-24-753. Owner applicant is Richard and Jennifer Barlow. Project location is 50 Anderson Street, Assessors Map D-6-5. Filed by Insight Engineering Service on behalf of the applicant, Richard and Jennifer Barlow, to construct a garage in the buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetlands.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, Sean Ainsworth from Insight Engineering, representing the Barlows. What we've got an existing parcel on Anderson Street, just to bring you up familiar, that's way down kind of the forgotten part of Fall River. Off of Dickerson Street, and it's an existing lot. It's been there for a long time. The Andersons bought it, I believe, back in 2009. There is wetlands on the adjacent parcel of land. The wetlands is flagged by Brandon Fanoof from Ecosystems. As you can see, those flags are on the plan that we've represented. What they're proposing to do is put a garage up at the end of their existing driveway. It's in a lawn area right now. We went through site plan review with the planning board. We did receive an approval. I brought in copies of the approval letter for the board tonight as far as the site plan. Also, after we had filed, there were a few changes to the plan, that site plan review and the comments. I also brought in some revised plans. I believe Mr. Kenny has them in front of him. Basically, everything we're doing is in the buffer zone. We're taking the runoff from the roof, we're putting it into an infiltration facility, so there'll be no adverse effect on the wetlands as far as runoff goes. Really, the grades on the lot aren't going to change. The only thing that might change is there's currently a retaining wall up. The garage is going to butt up against the retaining wall, so a section of that will be taken out for the driveway going in. But basically, it's cut and dry. It's all buffer zone. Again, we've been through site plan review. We've been approved. So if the board has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Do we have any questions?
A comment, would you be willing to have a sign there that says it is a wetlands buffer zone? In back of that, the previous owner had apparently dumped a lot of stuff. And we really don't want junk, and we really don't want vegetable waste either.
Right. Well, right now, currently, they have a fence up, and the fence is roughly about 5 feet from the property line. It doesn't reflect on this plan for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but it just didn't plot. But there's currently a fence up back there, a stockade fence, along the whole back of the property.
Right, I know.
So I don't see them going any far past the fence. The wetlands are all off-site as far as that goes. So, I mean, they would have to take down the fence and...
No, they wouldn't. They'd just put the sign on the other side, or on their side.
Well, they could put the sign on the other side where the wetlands line is. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, that's
that
what
way,
I'm
if anybody
saying,
was
but
behind the fence or
so
whatever.
that the neighborhood knows that they are wetlands and it doesn't become
I don't see a problem. What type of sign are we talking about as far as construction? I mean,
I
we're
don't
talking...
know. Mr. Kenny,
Yeah,
and we've done it before with other pieces of property.
Yeah, let me just make a suggestion. I think the sign's not a bad idea. Sean, the fence that you speak of,
Yep.
that's in the buffer zone as well?
It is. It's an
And how
existing fence.
Yeah,
Bill.
how far behind the fence do you start to have the wetlands?
Well, actually, the fence is about 7 or 8 feet, and I don't have my measurements with me. It's about 8 feet off the back where the proposed garage is going to be.
Okay.
So it's roughly 5 feet from the property line. So I'm going to say it's pretty much, maybe I'm going to say 25 feet from the wetland line at where the garage is. It's closer, it's probably about maybe where flag A3 is. I'm going to say, because I've got the erosion controls basically where the existing fence is. It's a 20 scale, I'm going to say about 10 feet at flag A3.
I think Reverend Hornsby brings up a legitimate point. In the Highland Farms subdivision, for example, we're requiring each of those lots to put up a sign that says, beyond this point is protected wetlands, no dumping, no filling, that sort of thing. And it's a sign that, the design and the size of it we agreed upon with the developer. So I think that's a good practice for us to get into. And I see no harm with having a sign put up so that, we don't know who's going to buy the property in the future, and it does no harm to the owner to have this. I think, other than that, my recommendation would be, let's have a sign put up that would be, that I and Sean and the owner could agree as to size and what it would say, and that would be a condition. And then aside from that, just put up your erosion control measures before you start work, and just have the Conservation Commission representative, which would probably be me or Dennis Silva, come down and say, yep, those are fine, go ahead and start your work. And other than that, just get the order of conditions recorded before you start the work. So that would be my recommendation. Sign, yes, orders of condition on record, and let us check out the erosion control measures before you start. So that's what I suggest.
Any other questions? Okay, so can I have a motion for?
Move approval.
I didn't make it yet.
I'll second that
Oh,
motion.
sorry, we did it the other way years ago. It was all written out.
We'll make a motion that erosion control be in place before and during construction of the garage, and that a sign be placed in the back with protected wetlands, and you can contact the planning department for the exact wording on the signage. Can I have a motion?
As move approval.
I'll second that
And
motion.
also, by the way, that was to have the erosion controls installed and approved before they start work.
Fine, I'll accept that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All righty. Thanks.
Okay.
Aye.
Vote?
Aye.
Vote passes for nothing?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to take item number 3 out of, and move it to item number 2 next?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that motion.
Second that?
Sure.
Okay.
If that's what you want, sure.
Notice of intent, notice of intent is NOI file number SC-24. Owner applicant is James Karam, RJK Partnership and Inc. Project location is Augusta Street. Assessors map 1-26-12, filed by Prime Engineering Inc. on behalf of applicant James Karam of RJK Partnership to construct an addition of a radio tower on existing radio tower site.
Hey. While you're doing that, can I just ask, Rich Rayum filed this, and you're from his firm, right? That's correct. What's your name? Steve Combs. Steve, okay. I just wanted to say, every time I read something that you guys submit, I learn something. I thought the presentation was excellent, and very concise and helpful.
Great.
You could have done better.
All right. Good evening. My name's Steve Combe. I'm a professional engineer with Prime Engineering, located at 350 Bedford Street in Lakeville, Mass. I'm here today representing the applicant RJK Partnership about the proposed radio tower to be located on map in lot I-26-12. Before I get into the proposed plan, I just wanted everyone to get their bearings on where we're talking about here. The site is located on the end of Augustus Street.
Excuse me, I can't, if you speak into the microphone, I can hear you.
Okay,
If you don't, I can't.
I will stay seated then. Sorry about that. The proposed site is located on the end of Augustus Street, to the west of I-95 in the Quequechan River. I'm going to flip the page here.
I'm familiar with it, I was there.
Today, the site exists as a mix of wetlands and upland area, which slopes east to the Quequechan River, the Quequechan River. There's wetlands on site, and those were flagged by Stephen Schmiel. The site is accessed off Augusta Street currently, and contains an existing radio tower with a small shed.
Right.
The proposed plan is to construct a new radio tower within the flagged wetlands. The goal of the applicant is to simulcast WHTB 1400 AM in stereo, which is why the tower is needed in the precise location it's located on the plans. This is necessary to comply with FCC regulations. The tower will have 3 guy wires and anchors, along with the required grounding wires. A new access road off the existing access road will be created to reach the proposed radio tower. The 461 square feet of wetlands disturbed as a part of this project will be replicated to the south with about 1,700 square feet of wetlands. Let me flip to that sheet now. So we're replicating those wetlands, and we're replacing them with almost 4 times the amount of wetlands we're disturbing. And I'll just read to you quickly that wetland impacts for communication facilities are allowed under the provisions of 310 CMR 10.24. Additionally, this tower is located precisely where it needs to be located in the wetlands in order for the applicant to simulcast in stereo. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission or the public. Thank you very much.
How high is the tower going to be?
Approximately 175 feet.
what
And
it
we are
is,
going to have to
but-
go to site plan review as well. We're planning.
And by the way, the site plan review was concluded today, and we're going to issue the approval letter on the site plan review tomorrow.
We've owned the site since 1985, the first radio station. In the old days, I can't take too much time, I've got a date, my age, but,
Maybe you should go now.
no. But actually, we had the old WALE,
Yeah.
and when we got the WSAR, which was in Swansea, Somerset,
Somerset, yeah.
we've always kept this one here in Fall River, the WALE. And today, now you're going to do stereo as well. It's just, our business is tough enough, you don't have to cry for us, but the radio business is tough enough these days. And so having the additional signal will get the people that want to hear the music, more than the talk shows. And we don't want to give up on the talk shows. We think they're intricate to what happens in the city. People have a lot to say on the talk shows. So we could have, the choice would have been take down WHTB as just do the other one. We make more money on that. But we think that's been something for the people to communicate in the city. And so we decided to do that one. It seems we fit into the criteria that it made sense to do both of them. And that's why we did it.
Right.
I would just say my review of it is that they definitely fit within the criteria. I think the the wetlands replication is something we haven't seen very often, but that's not an unusual thing. And where they are disrupting a small section, they're replicating that, a much larger section of wetlands right in the same vicinity, which is a good thing. And their plans are very specific as to how that process will go forward. And my recommendation on this is to issue the order of conditions, subject to them doing what they said they're going to do. The only thing is record the order of conditions before they start work and put up the erosion control barriers before they start work for us to take a peek at and approve.
All right. Any other questions?
Just a comment. I now understand why you're going to have two towers there. Thank you. And we talked about a sign indicating that it's protected wetlands. Could we also do that there?
We could put that in. It's just a standard sign we've been putting up.
I hear that out there on the one.
Right, I was going
So where we're gonna put the new larger one? We'll have a sign that says that's protected wetlands.
well, whatever
Yeah,
is.
we've been
I'm
doing
not a
it in
sign
the-
person. I don't design them. I just,
Whatever you guys tell us to do, we'll do.
I
Yeah.
just want to keep the junk out. That's what
Because
I,
I can't go there.
Yeah.
And,
What he's referring to is in some of the residential subdivisions now, where the homes are built close to the wetlands, we're having people put in their backyard,
Yeah.
beyond this point, it's protected, don't be dumping stuff, and so.
yeah, it's a
if we
regular
can-
street, Bill.
We'll work with whomever you tell us.
Yeah, so
Actually,
we'll
gotta
work out a
protect you.
sign.
There's people not
Yeah.
dumping there.
Yeah,
So I don't think, I didn't see any signs of dumping. This,
No, it's
no,
like, it's a
but
steep hill going down there.
if there's a hill going down and
We
it's,
saw one of the tenants who we think has put half of their garage on our land. And I said to Jimmy, we talked to him, my brother's so much nicer than these, leave the guy alone for Christ's sakes. I know, I said, yeah, but we'll put another building over there. So, but he's not aiming in the wetlands, but just where we see them now, but everything's fine.
right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Andy?
I just want to make sure I understand completely. You said the wetland that you are disturbing, you're going to replicate 4 times approximately?
Approximately 4 times, 3.8 or something like that. yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that is the most we've ever seen anybody do, so.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. So can I have a motion with the following conditions that the hay bales and silt stay in place during construction, before and during construction, and that the replication of the disturbed be completed, and we'll have a sign placed at restricted wetlands. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Can I have a vote?
Aye.
Aye,
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good night.
thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoy your day.
What?
Haven't seen you in a long time.
No, it's good to see you. That's legal. Thanks.
Okay, very good.
Enjoy dinner.
You saved me, I got a date. My age, I got a date.
You'll make it there in time, I think.
Oh, come on, he's just a young guy. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
We got one more?
We have one more. What did I do with, oh,
That's all the live bodies I think we have here, right there. We have,
next on the item is request for determination of acceptability dash RDA 171. Applicant is Claire Kudo, Kalias Commuter Service, Director of ENV. Project location is commuter rail line, filed by Fair Darmody Consulting Engineering on behalf of Claire Kudo, Kalias Commuter Service, Director of ENV, to identify provisions of Wetlands Protection Act or regulation which may exempt the applicant from having to file a notice of intent for all parts of the described work.
it's not easy to say, is it?
Sure know how to-
Yeah. I have some information on that for you. I don't believe there's anybody present to speak on that, correct? Okay. Let me take this off for a second. This involves the renewal of a permit that runs for 5 years, and it's been renewed historically 5 years at a time for work to be done along the railroad right-of-way to control vegetation. You know, you don't want trees growing over your railroad tracks and things of that nature. It's for safety purposes and convenience of the railroad operations. Historically, this has been renewed by, I think, and by the way, this is not something that happens just in our community. Wherever there's an MBTA line, this issue comes up. Historically, communities have apparently been just renewing these with a determination that there's nothing protected by the wetlands in these areas that we need to be concerned about. And my first thought on it was that we should probably do what we've done in the past and just renew it for another 5. But we received towards the end of last week a communication from the, if I can put my fingers on it, the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, which raises some questions as to whether that is really the appropriate response to this. And since we received it just at the end of last week, I haven't had an opportunity to digest this issue, and I think it merits some further research so that I can give you guys some proper guidance as to what you might do or not do on this. So I'm going to make a suggestion that you table this to the next meeting to give me an opportunity to come up with a reasoned explanation for what this issue is about and to give you some better guidance than I can on such short notice. It's not going to result in any detriment to these applicants. Their license, the current license is good until the end of December, so no harm done. So that would be my request, that it be tabled to the
Mr.
next
Kenny,
meeting.
our next meeting is in about 2 weeks, is early October.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that-
adequate.
Is that enough time to digest?
It is, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, though, but that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got the same letter, email too, with the letter, and it is a little, good to take a look at it before we
Yeah,
just give them the 5,
Yeah.
you know. So can I have a motion to table this to October's meeting?
so moved.
I'll second that motion.
Vote? Aye. Vote passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is a open meeting law violation. Do I have to read this violation, or is that?
Patty, what's been the procedure in the past? Do they have
This
to,
is my first one I've ever gotten.
so there's no history? Yeah, go ahead and read it. I would just,
All right,
for
well-
the record, so folks know that we know what it was about, and,
It was a meeting violation on our August 3rd meeting, violating open meeting law. They was Viva Governor Baker's March 12th executive by stating the agenda for meetings that said meeting is closed to the public and private, inviting specific members of public to attend, which that was the meeting that we asked Kenny Fowler to come in and give us his point of view on what was happening on the waterfront. And then violating open meeting law, section 20F, by failing to state the Zoom and FGTV was being recorded in the meeting. Which we read that in our open meeting law, so I think that covers it. We did contact the Attorney General, and she said everything was fine with us. So can I have a motion to refer this to our legal department?
Absolutely.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Vote?
Aye.
Vote 4-0. Next one is enforcement order for DNS Marine Duval Street. Can I have a motion to pass this on to legal department?
yeah, could I just, by way of explanation, as you will recall, that was a case in which the chairman issued an enforcement order, and I believe that at the subsequent meeting that order was reaffirmed, which is the normal procedure. And subsequent to that, we've referred it up to the law department. So that's really the reason that we really don't have any discussion on it tonight, is because it's in their hands. And so I would just, I think the proper motion would be to just table it indefinitely, pending a report back from the law department.
So can I have a motion to table this indefinitely till we hear back from the law department?
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Vote?
Aye.
Okay, vote passes 4-0. It would then, 6 on the agenda is enforcement order of South Beacon LLC West Side of South Beacon Street.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I could report on that as well, if I may. This was also a situation in which an enforcement order was issued, it had to do with some work that had been undertaken at this site, and it borders some wetland areas, so it was within the jurisdiction of the commission, but the work had begun without any notice of intent having been filed and without any order of conditions having been issued by the commission. So the enforcement order ordering them to cease and desist work went out. My understanding in speaking to their attorney, Matt Burke, I spoke with him today, and he confirms that the work has stopped, and they currently have no plans to go forward with any additional work, although that could change. They understand that if they are going to go forward with additional work, they're going to have to come in with a notice of intent. At this point, I think probably the appropriate motion on this would be just to table it indefinitely and let it sit there until they, if they come forward with a proposal, then we can take it up then.
Okay. So can I have a motion to table this
I have a
indefinitely?
question before
Yeah.
the motion. They stopped work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and so what are we tabling?
Well, the enforcement order was, the background was that the owner of this property had a proposal to develop the land into some townhouses, and they...
Some what?
Townhouses, residential townhouse
Oh,
development.
that one.
Yeah, this is on
Okay.
the end of South Beacon, and they had filed a request for a special permit from the zoning board. And before that was determined one way or the other, they started to do some earthwork, to move some dirt around and do some grading and so
Yeah,
forth,
okay.
which is not permitted without you guys first looking at
I understand,
it.
and I'm now familiar with it.
Yeah.
There just was no address, and I couldn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's vacant land, so,
Didn't click in my...
yeah. Their
Fine,
request, by the
fine.
way, for a special permit was withdrawn at the zoning board meeting last Thursday,
Thank you,
I think it
Mr.
was.
Chairman.
So, again, I think just table it indefinitely would be the proper motion.
All right. So can I have a motion to table this indefinitely?
So move.
Second, vote?
I'll second.
I'll second. Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Vote?
You can have the second, Andy.
Yes, Reverend?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Vote 4-0, okay.
Faded out there.
Next on the agenda is, can I have a motion to approve the minute, approval of minutes meeting August 3rd?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second, vote.
Aye.
I
Vote passes 4-0. Do we have any citizen input? We have no citizen input.
Is nobody out in the anteroom there?
No, I already checked.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All righty. Meeting adjourned.
Aye. Thank you all very much.